Hello paddlers! Today I'm in eastern Fond du Lac County on Long Lake. Long Lake is not exactly a destination paddle that's been on my bucket list. It's just kind of one of those things where I find myself in this part of the state, where's some water? So here I am. But Long Lake is surrounded by the Catamaran State Forest Northern Unit, so not a lot of development around this lake. It's mostly campgrounds and one small neighborhood, so I'm hoping what's left of our migratory birds, if they're not all gone, we're going to see a little bit of wildlife out there today. It's the end of October, so my opportunities to paddle are getting fewer and far between. And in about a week, we're going to change the clocks, so it's going to be impossible for me to get out during the week unless I completely play hooky, and that's not likely. So I'm left hoping that we get some nice, decent weather on the weekends to get out there and paddle. My season doesn't end until these lakes in Wisconsin freeze, so my season's not over yet. Let's get out there and see what we can see today. Well, it might be chilly and overcast today, but at least there's no wind. I've got that going for me. Well, I guess I can't go any farther than this on the south end of Long Lake. I gotta admit, when I pulled up today, I stepped out of the vehicle and I'm like, it's kind of cold. Do I really want to paddle today? But as always, once I'm on the water, I'm really glad I made that decision. I think the key today is keep moving. I want to generate some body heat here to keep me warm. Scared up a heron, I didn't even see him there. So I guess not all the migratory birds are gone yet. The question I'm asked most frequently, now that it's almost November here in Wisconsin, is what do you do over the winter when you can't paddle? Well, I get really sad. Sadly, most of us in Wisconsin are just not as active when it's cold out. I absolutely loathe the winter. I've tried to embrace it. I've tried to do the cross-country skiing, snowshoeing. I just absolutely hate the cold and the snow. Snow has no redeeming qualities to me whatsoever. And I don't have a huge budget to be traveling to warm destinations all winter. I do hope to get away somewhere for, even if it's just for a long weekend, so I can get a couple of days on the water visiting family in a warmer climate. But no, winter for me just generally sucks. So does that answer your question? I hate it. There's a little community here that you see behind me that's called Chinatown on the map. And I thought, Chinatown in Fond du Lac County? How unlikely is that? It's named Chinatown after not any of the founders or the ethnicity of the inhabitants, but people across the lake when they were originally building little lake houses here were building them up on stilts because it was kind of marshy. So they built them up on stilts to prevent them from flooding during the high water. And the people across the lake said it looked like China. So there you go. They called it Chinatown. It's an unincorporated area of maybe about 4 or 5 blocks. But the name kind of stuck, and it's officially an unincorporated community called Chinatown. Fall paddling in Wisconsin can be really pretty spectacular on a sunny day when our colors are at their peak. But then there's days like today when we are past our peak. Everything, as you can see, is starting to turn brown. The skies are gray and I'm cold. This is only going to be about a 5-mile paddle today, but at least I got out here and I have another new lake experience under my belt. That looks like a pretty nice life jacket. I have actually not added to my life jacket collection this year. Let's go get it. Well, I don't think I'll be using it. It's a men's 2X, but if anybody needs a men's 2X O'Brien life jacket, I got one up for grabs. I don't think I've ever seen such a high concentration of tiny little shells on the east side of the marshy part of Long Lake, just north of where I launched. I mean, they're just everywhere. Decent size, some of them as well. Another question I get asked frequently is, how do you know how far you've paddled and how many miles do you paddle in a year? First question is easy. Anybody with a smartphone can download a number of apps that can track your miles for you. I used one called Map My Run, sponsored by Under Armour. They used to sponsor Endomondo. I used that one for years until it was discontinued. Anyway, I use Map My Run, but there's a number of apps you can download that'll track your mileage and you can pick your different sport or whatnot. I pay for the premium, but the free version is probably all you really need. So to answer the second question, the last time I checked my miles for this year, I was at about 800, so I'm probably at least 850 right now. When I first started paddling 14, 15 years ago, I would get 500 miles in a season. And then I kicked it up a notch, maybe 5, 7 years later to get 700, 800 miles. The most miles I've ever paddled in a season was in 2021. So pandemic year, I just went gonzo and I got 1,200 miles in 2020. I also work in healthcare, so I pretty much did nothing in 2020 other than work, sleep, paddle. And then I followed that through and I even topped that in 2021 with about 1,250 miles. That was an obsessive amount of paddling for someone that works full time. But I think this year, 800, 900 miles, I think is a pretty good amount of miles. I feel like I have more of a work-life balance at this point, and 800, 900 miles is totally doable for me. Hi.
Hoda, come here.
Oh!
No! Hoda, come here.
Oh, as long as he doesn't splash me.
Hoda, I'm here.
You silly pup, he's got to be cold. Oh no, he's
here. Come on.
I've got just a little bit over 5 miles in, so pretty quick paddle, but it works out really well as these days are getting chilly. I don't think I have a whole lot more in me on a day like today. If you like your solitude when you're paddling, then come to Wisconsin when it's 38 degrees. You will have the lake to yourself. I'm not sure how many more of these I have left in me this year, but I'm sure there's going to be a couple more days where I get some excursions in before it gets too terribly cold. I'm glad you came with me, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe so you don't miss any of my next adventures. I'll see you next time.